Okay, welcome everybody. It's the witching hour. It's 6:30. It's the meeting. The first thing I'd like to do is welcome our new councillors. And I don't think they really need any introduction. Not strangers to anybody. So we have Councillor Fisher, who many of you know, and also Councillor Manton, also who many of you know. So very much welcome to the Parish Council. We really appreciate your experience and your input and your community focus on what we're actually doing. So welcome to both of you. I will mention at this point that this meeting is being recorded, both video and audio, and that it is the right of our councillor or member of the public to do that, provided it's not intrusive or does not distract from the subject or the discussions in the meeting. They also have a right to cascade that in its full form, unedited, as we all know, the wonders of social media and artificial intelligence, that sometimes it tells you things that you didn't actually say. So that is going on at the moment. If anybody does not wish to be in view, then please you can organise for you not to be in view and just move to the side, out of the way of the camera. Okay. Thank you. And I think we'll start off with apologies for absence.
Okay, it is Councillor Bennett, Councillor Meadows, Councillor Castle and Councillor Miller due to prior engagements.
Okay, thank you. And does anybody have any declarations of interest? No?
Well, I am a member of the district council.
And yeah,
Just a point of order. It did say on there, under welcoming the councillors, they were to sign the declaration of acceptance, or that been done?
that's been done.
That has been done prior to the meeting.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We want it.
I'll take it, yeah.
Because of an aspiration said sign here, so I did.
Okay, yeah, no problem, thank you.
I had this walk sent to queue.
Okay, so, and then we, having no declarations of interest, possibly, minutes of the previous meeting. Has everyone had a chance to peruse, absorb, comment on the previous minutes? And would anybody like to make any comments, amendments on that? No, we'll take that as a no. Thank you. Okay, matters arising. Thank you. And public participation. This is the time of the meeting. Members of the public may actually comment on items that are on the agenda. So, do any members of the public have anything, comments to make?
What's NDP?
Yeah, I asked that one. It's the National Democratic Party, I thought.
I think that the D was put in probably by error. I think it's NP, neighbourhood plan, and B might have been neighbourhood development.
Development, right.
So I don't read anything into it. I think that's just B for development.
Okay. County council matters. No. Did Councillor Marshall?
No, I've had no.
He did send his. Well, I spoke to him and he said, "I present his apologies."
Okay.
I can tell you the one and only thing he will have spoken about if you wish.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Councillor. District council matters.
Is
go over there?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So quite a lot to report. Local government reorganisation update. West Sussex councils have completed their business case for reorganisation. Horsham District Council and other West District Council and boroughs favoured a two-unitary model for West Sussex. I can give you all of this, Katie, so don't worry about trying to put it down, don't worry. That's one new authority combining Horsham, Crawley and Mid-Sussex, and a second combining Arran, Chichester, Worthing and Ada. The business case and recommendations were submitted on 26th of September. The government will consider these with a formal consultation expected in November, and a final decision will be how it will be implemented is expected in spring 26. So still quite a long time to wait before we hear about that. Local plan update. This is the Horsham District local plan. The planning inspector halted the local plan examination, citing failure to meet the duty to cooperate. Horsham District Council has since provided evidence of engagement with neighbouring authorities. HDC has requested that the hearing be reopened so this issue can be examined further. The legal duty to cooperate has now been removed in legislation, but the national planning framework still expect neighbouring councils to work together on strategic matters. So again, that's a bit up in the air. The Capitol Theatre refurbishment. The original 10.7 million refurbishment plan for the Capitol Theatre in Horsham was reviewed after a 25% cost increase came. Horsham District Council has rescaled the project to manage the cost. A phased approach is now being taken so that the venue can remain open for most of 25 while essential works are carried out. Progress has been monitored by the relevant HDC scrutiny committees. Bramber Brooks, Horsham District Council purchased the 34-acre Bramber Brooks site near Bramber in January 24 to secure public access, boost biodiversity and support the Wilder Horsham District initiative. Habitat works in 2025 created new wetlands, ponds and shallow pools to attract wading birds, fish and invertebrates. Water voles may return if mink numbers on the River Ada are reduced, and part of the site is now open to the public. We went along to an event there at the end of the week, last week. Volunteering events are being planned by HDC Parks and Countryside, so people might want to volunteer for that. The first date is the 3rd of November and the second will be announced. I will leave with Katie the email and a link for further information if you're interested in knowing more. Horsham District Council have rolled out an energy saving plan builder, which is done in partnership with Chichester District Council and Parity Projects. It's a free online tool called Energy Saving Plan Builder. It helps householders to see what energy saving changes could work for their home, and it does it literally house by house, individually, including estimated costs and benefits. The key aims are to reduce energy use, make homes more comfortable, cut carbon emissions, possibly increase property value, and then there's a link to access it, and that's open for residents to use. And then more local updates. The Old Mill Drive and Library car parks. So we've been in touch with HDC and they have cut down the bush that was partially obscuring the don't turn left sign, not turn left, and has repainted most, not all, of the faded signs, the ones that tell you which way to go though, including a no entry sign, which is now very difficult to miss.
Better, doesn't it?
Yeah. They say work to repair the wall damaged by a Waitrose lorry will start this week or next, which will be good because it's blocking quite a few spaces. And the library car park is due to have its lines repainted also, but we're trying to actually get a date as to when that will happen. I have asked and haven't got an answer yet. And then finally, we know that there's quite a difficult situation with the lack of toilets in Horsham District Council, particularly in Storrington. I'm not completely sure, but it seems that the Old Mill Drive petrol station is now not available anymore. Don't know if that's right.
That's
Correct.
my understanding, yeah.
Yeah, but signage still points people that way. Although I don't really know it says where to actually go exactly. But in Wealdon District, they have a community toilet scheme, which basically means you can apply as a business to say my toilet is open to the public, and you get an annual fee from the council for the use of that to cover your costs of cleaning and toilet paper and so on and so forth. And that's dependent on, you know, how accessible it is and how many hours you're open, and there's an annual amount. So there's more detail about this in here, which I'll share again. But we are planning to put a question to HDC at full council next week, asking if we could adopt it, which could be quite useful. I mean, there are pubs and so on that could basically means you don't have to purchase anything in order to use their toilet, but you've got full rights to say who can and can't use it. So if someone's being troublesome, they're not allowed in and they can ban them. So yeah, that's it. Happy to take questions if anyone's got any.
In terms of the community scheme, community toilet scheme, it's a weird thing to say, isn't it? Everybody in the same room. What communication has gone out to local businesses to offer up that?
Oh no, this is just literally asking Horsham District if they would consider rolling it out, and then they.
Okay.
We haven't taken it any further, rather than
Right.
that. But we have found Wealdon, and this came about through the Access Henfield group.
Yeah.
Which is about making Henfield more accessible to people with, you know, visible hidden disabilities.
Yeah.
And they've been kind of asking about whether it could happen there. So we thought it would be a good plan here.
Yeah.
You go on a website, get listed, and you have a sign outside your door so people know that they can use the toilet.
On that point, can I just just comment, I've missed out on some conversations, I think, about the toilets, but are councillors aware that the Anchor used to be a designated toilet provider?
I think it was a while ago it was.
But now it's been refurbished, it might be a good place to go because they do have good toilets.
Yeah, I mean, they used to do it, and there was a specific sign up saying that they did it, but I think it was just like one of those places that got overrun with people. I was going to say, oh no, I can't, it's been filmed.
That's why.
I'll finish there and just say the opportunity.
Yeah.
That was more of a language thing rather than a content thing.
Can I just also give Emma's apologies, she's on compassionate leave at the moment.
Of course. Thank you. Any more? Councillor Manton.
One of the things that I was going to raise is the lack of public toilets in Storrington, and ask why, as a parish council, we are not building and supplying some public toilets. We used to have some; they disappeared. A number of residents would like them back. Can we look at that, please?
Yeah. That is a history which stretches beyond my experience within the council, but does anybody know? And I'm looking at Richard here.
We did do quite a big exercise on finding a toilet, and basically what the result came up with was a single toilet on its own, sort of self-contained. Problems arose, I think, with cleaning. There was a cost of the cleaning, and there was who was going to do it, and the sort of how regular. That was the main thing. I actually looked into toilets because I went to one of their buildings that they did. It was over in Coulsdon, and it was the most horrendous thing I've ever seen, because it wasn't, say, properly maintained. I mean, lots of places you go in, there's a little sign thing up on the wall that says last cleaned 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, this basically, there was a contract to do it, never got cleaned, and when you walked in, the stench would make your eyes water. It was dreadful. It probably there could be a solution, but the sort of practicalities of, you know, what's going to happen with this. The toilet that we looked at was one that wasn't a sort of open one that someone went down and closed. It was an automated thing where at a certain time of day, I think it locked and things like that. But it could be that you can find a solution, but the reality was that I think we tried more or less everything, and
I think actually, I mean, it's a very valid point, Councillor Manton, and we've also heard lots of people do say there's a lack of public toilets because people tend to try and use hedges and this type of thing.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, what I have to say is,
so I'll
sorry.
just say that I think that if we can make a note of that to actually look into the toilet.
I was going to suggest a motion in the toilet.
So we'll look at that, and maybe Alan, you want to give that some.
I have some ideas
some of your brain
that
power
will
on that.
probably fix 3 problems in one go.
Okay. Great, thank you. So we can make a note of that, and we'll get toilets on the agenda. Okay, and is there anything else before we move on to the next item, which is the Warden's report to the full council? Did everybody get a chance to look through that? Yeah, got that. Great. Any comments, congratulations, pats on the back, complaints about that particular report?
just noted.
Yeah, just noted.
Is there going to be a second warden, or is it just going to be one?
I'm not actually sure about that.
Walsham District Council are advertising for the second position, but they will deal with all the recruitment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
nothing,
it's something which we're sort of at arm's length from, really,
Yeah.
because we don't actually get involved in that interview process or anything else. So it will be a case of watch this space. On that one, Councillor Manton.
Sorry, it's me again. Yes, I got it out and I read it, and it's quite comprehensive, and thank you to Chris for providing it. However, there are a couple of things that I personally felt I could do with a little more information on. It's quite bland and doesn't actually give some detail in places. So I just wondered, was this format provided? Did we have any input into it?
I know a little bit about that. I think it is quite formulaic, and when I spoke to Chris, because I had a couple of suggestions which I talked to him about 2 weeks ago, which he wasn't able to do, which was like a mini summary at the top. I thought that might be quite helpful for a quick review. Anyway, and it all has to be signed off by the press office in Horsham. So, I mean, he's open to suggestions, but I don't think he's got that much scope.
Maybe we could just have a chat sometime and just see if there's.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think the length and the format, it's quite lengthy already. I wouldn't suggest you put too much more detail on that.
Okay.
You know, I think if you've got questions, just ask them, really.
Yeah.
We do have a steering group for the wardens, so it may be worth an email to the office and then we can pick it up at the next warden steering group.
Super, thanks. I'll do that.
Right. Thank you. Now we move on to referrals and recommendations from committees. And following recommendation by the internal auditor, committee members to recommend to full council that financial regulations 5.15 be amended to state that the clerk may spend up to £1,000, £1,000 plus VAT under delegated authority.
Is there a current limit?
500.
It's 500. Yeah, 500.
Any reason for changing it, or?
The auditor thought that she should, because obviously her experience and qualifications, that she should be, only her as an individual should be able to sign up to £1,000 plus VAT.
The auditor.
Because
The auditor.
clarify, we had a discussion of this last week at the meeting, and as I understood it, it was for emergencies. As Rebecca said, she would always ask if there was an item of expenditure, but she would always refer to councillors in the due process.
Yes.
But if there was an emergency and she wasn't able to contact councillors, you know, leak in the leisure central ceiling, something like that.
Emergency
Something that
call
needed-
out, something that needs to happen now.
it might be worthwhile changing it. We had a discussion about it, whether we should or whether we shouldn't. We felt probably it hasn't been reviewed for some time, and maybe this was an opportunity to do it, but it's very rare. And
Yeah.
it's for emergencies.
Yeah.
That was how it was described, and it was on that basis that I think that the finance committee proposed 1,000.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Mann.
Yes, what authority does the auditor have to act on behalf of this council? You say that she was going to approve £1,000 expenditure.
So it was him.
Him?
Yeah. We have to have the audit, and I believe that they put that in place as a suggestion. It wasn't actually.
Wasn't they were actually taking a decision to do
No,
that?
No.
So that decision is actually made by
It's
the
made by
people
committee.
around this town.
Yeah.
So it's in an emergency, and preferably if the clerk wants to do it, I would have thought she could have just phoned either the chairman or the vice chairman to get a second before going ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's the principle that she said she'd operate with anyway, so.
Yeah.
So can we make sure that's in the procedure then, that it's for emergencies only and with the countersign of the chairman or vice chairman?
It sort of goes against what the whole point of this is, and that she's able to do it on her own
And use her judgment.
Yeah.
and use her judgment. This is the
Okay.
that's the whole
It's got
point
to
of
be
it.
pretty emergency then. Yeah, okay.
And you never know what's around the corner. Do you? So, to propose, to second, and we have a vote on that. Those in favour? I think that's unanimous. Lovely, thank you. And the next point is committee membership. Councillors to consider and agree requests for our brand shiny new councillor Fisher to join Wreck and Prop, Ice and Traffic and Transport, and our brand new shiny councillor Manton to join Traffic and Transport. So if we take
Question, Chairman, if I may. There is this neighbourhood development plan steering group. Could I also go on a steering group? Is that part of this, or?
if we can put that request in, we'd have to, unfortunately, you know the score, councillor, that we actually have to have that on the agenda. So if you'd like to submit that request through, and then we'll pick that up on there. Yes, of course. Would somebody like to propose councillor Fisher to join Wreck and Prop, Ice and Traffic and Transport? It's seconded. Do we have to vote on that?
Anybody against?
Do we have one?
Well, yeah, it's good practice, yeah,
Good
just to do a first and a second.
So, voting those in vote in favour? Okay, and for councillor Manton, is somebody like to propose councillor Manton for traffic and transport? I'll second that. And would we have a vote on that as well, please? Great, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. And now we come to the NDP Neighbourhood Development Plan Steering Group Update. Councillor Aikenhead.
Thank you. You may recall a month ago at our last property meeting, I gave an update then, which was we would hope to hear from Maureen Chafe, our consultant, that West Shortington's plan had reached the inspector, and she was hopeful it might be passed. And for the benefit of those that weren't in that meeting, the reason for that is that we could, in the slipstream of some of West Shortington's policies, which we know are acceptable, and have them looked for our plan. We're about approximately 50, 60, maybe even 70% through our neighbourhood plan, and it came to a grinding halt when Horsham lost its local plan, where it was kicked out, and they withdrew the funding. So everything came to a standstill. Anyway, Maureen Schaefer sent me an email. It will come as no surprise that HDC do not appear to have a contract with the examiner, so he is taking as long as he likes to deal with our plan. That's West Chiltington's. He came back with some initial questions 2 months ago, but still no final decision, no change. So, again, it's another situation where we're somewhat in limbo. I have been in contact with some of our Washington steering group members, and to update them, and B, to suggest that the first opportunity we have a formal meeting, but that obviously is still to be arranged. So that's exactly where we are, I'm afraid. I keep repeating it every single month, no news, and it seems everything is just drifting at the moment. It's not very satisfactory. So that's it.
Just wondering, what's the name of the inspector?
I don't know, but I can get that for you.
That would be useful.
Yeah. We'll get that for you.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. And we now move on to point 129, which is a grant application request for councillors to consider and agree a grant to the local organiser of the Remembrance Day Parade to cover costs of liability insurance.
Okay, this doesn't need to happen now, as you're probably all aware. Christian Bovic, who is the leader of the parade, he is a former cadet, and he's found out that he can actually get their personal liability insurance. He can use that for the parade. I've emailed him a couple of times, so he's quite happy. I just need a certificate. We'll still go through the same process of applying for the road closures. I've sent him 2 emails this week because I need it quite urgently. I've touched base with Horsham, and she said I've really got until the 13th, and she can still make an allowance for us because we need 6 weeks for road closures. Because we've obviously got to put signs around the area and let everyone know, but she's quite confident the 13th will be fine. So I'm asking Christian again and again, but I don't know if anybody knows the head of the cadets. They'll probably give me the details. I could contact them directly. I've asked them as well, but if anyone does anything, that'd be fine.
Okay. So we can defer that decision.
Yeah,
I mean, the
defer.
decision in my mind is absolutely yes,
Yeah.
we do it. A little bit of background to this one as well. There was a bit of, as we swim around in this sort of toxic social media aquarium that we were in, there was some crazy suggestions out there that we were withdrawing our support for this event, which was news to everybody, something we would never do. The actual, I believe in the past that the parish council had actually covered this event with their own public liability, but if you go, and the devil's always in the detail, you go into the detail of the insurance policy. If somebody had put in a claim and we weren't the primary organiser, it's likely that claim would not have been paid out. So everything remains the same in terms of risk assessments that gets carried on every single year. We attend as councillors, we all put on the high vis, we all help with the road closures, and apply for the road closures with the event, support it, have meetings and discussions with Christian as well, to do all these things. So nothing has changed at all, apart from the fact that by offering a grant to cover that insurance is going to be the most effective way, rather than us, trying to do it ourselves as we are not the primary organiser. We also had a claim from the Christmas event. Somebody fell over, and a claim that was in sort of a five-figure claim came in, which has, and with insurance companies, you know what they do, claim, we'll whack up the insurance policy. So we thought, as a prudent use of public money, the best thing to do would be to offer a grant to an organisation that could do it without suffering financial penalty. So at the end of the day, the public wins in terms of that, because they're not being hit with their money being used for an inexpensive policy. But also, more importantly, we probably wouldn't be compliant if we tried to do that as not the organiser, and that is a whole can of worms. If somebody put a claim in and they couldn't get. But I would also recommend that people, councillors and anybody here, take up with a pinch of salt some of the messages that come out on social media by people who really don't know what they're talking about, and in some cases seem to be throwing mud, hoping it will stick. So I would strongly recommend that anybody who's got questions about this contacts the parish council directly, and they, as ever, will get a clear and transparent response as to the reasons why.
Chairman, I did wonder whether the council does have not a press office, but you know, it's something to go back on these things and actually inform the residents about, you know, what we are doing and why we are doing it. Would that not be a good way of stopping some of this sniping?
I will. Well, as you well know, Alan, the sniping will come.
I know there's an amendment that comes in.
Council amounts and so on. We carry on with business as usual, operating the cogs and all the various bits and pieces. We get under the bonnet and we have to do all these things. If we were to try and just communicate out our conditions of our insurance policy, people are just going to fall asleep at their mobile phones or their desks. Now, when people, and this is what's been happening, people will surface and point a finger and make an accusation and twist it around to make it look as if we are withdrawing. I actually got a letter from our local MP asking why we were withdrawing support from Andrew Griffith, why we were withdrawing support from the Remembrance Parade, and you can imagine I responded very swiftly and very directly to say, because obviously somebody's out there winding that up with him and wasting his time, wasting everybody's time, and
being you and may have missed it, was that response copied into all the councillors? Can I see it somewhere?
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah. I responded. He's responded back saying thank you very much for your prompt reply. Burning in public session. Oh, sorry.
Can I just? So I'm happy to have a separate conversation if you'd like, Alan, if it's helpful. But I've got a sort of under the radar press officer hat, I think.
Right.
So what would happen in a situation like that is that one of us would see something of concern, and whoever it most naturally sits with, which quite often it's been traffic, but if it's in this instance it was events, so it sort of sits under the ICE. The working plan is that the chair of whoever it sits owns it as the subject and liaises with me, and I help with some of the wording. We'll then put that wording onto our website via Katie.
So it does go out on the web. It does go out on the website. So we
It's
refer
a web.
people
It's
to
a web.
the
Sorry,
website.
no. It's not a website. It's a web page. I'm not quite sure if I understand the difference, but anyway, we've got a web page,
Site has
so
been
it
pages.
goes on there,
Yeah.
and it also goes on the parish website. So and we're fairly new at this. I mean, we've been doing this since about June, I think. So it's still work in progress. But that is the basic principle: is that once we've got a message agreed, it goes out to those two places, and it gives the position. And we go as quickly as we can, given we're volunteers, but we move pretty quickly. And Alan and I, John and I, are in contact about those things.
I know I'm a
Most
new
weeks,
boy.
I suppose,
and
there's something.
I don't want to bring too much on being the new boy, but I do know that when I went around campaigning, and I don't know whether Claudia had the same thing, we had a lot of residents sort of poo-pooing the parish council as not communicating with them, not telling them what's going on. You know, and I saw also a lot of this stuff on Facebook about this parade, etc., etc. And I fully understood. Look, you know, if I'm a council, yeah, I wouldn't want to put myself on the line. I mean, it's not for the council to fund it. We can facilitate it, you know, and support it. But if another organisation wants to put it on and take out the insurance, as you say, we may well give them a grant as well. We have to discuss that. But I was just trying to try and start pushing back against this negative thing that we as a council get from the residents. And I just wondered if there was a process whether one of the clerks looked at Facebook on a regular occasion and then with the agreement of the chairman and vice chairman put out a standard statement that covers it. If it's on the website, then
Well, I think it's just what I've just said, really.
Thank you.
But we do monitor it. I think we will pick it up pretty simultaneously.
Yeah.
Can I just add a little bit to that? That is that we are aware that we need to be better at our comms.
Yes.
No question about that. In terms of monitoring Facebook though, that would be absolutely impossible. I mean, we can pick up the odd occasional message that's going around, but it would take a team of us to cope with the team on the other side that are putting out information. So we can work as a collective in here to do the best to communicate. We can certainly improve our standard communications, and if something particular comes up, we do need to address it. But the idea of watching Facebook would be impossible.
No, it's not good comms practice either to respond to every single accusation.
I'm not suggesting
We would put out a position, as Councillor Hicks said, about particular topics, but which is
Well,
what
it tends to, I mean, I think again, we're looking at obviously a new website, we're looking at new communications protocols, etc., in terms of how we do it, and we've got the right people in to do that. So it is recognised. But what I would say, we actually do a lot of good stuff, and there's a lot of good news out there. In this particular, over the last few months, it has been what seems to be focused on particular subjects by particular people. And sometimes you don't know who they are, but by the way they write, they're anonymous participants. This is something which is unusual. We've never really had this before, but it's been fairly targeted, I would say. And so we just have to make sure that people, the thinking people, will actually realise that actually this is just a little bit of someone's playing a bit of fun and games.
don't engage with them, just communicate with them. Talk out, but don't engage with them. Just communicate.
Actually, Claudia and Alan, there is a communications policy which is a work in progress. So I think it's in draft. So if I could send it to both of you, and then you could input. Everybody else has seen it. We're just tweaking it now. I mean, it's sort of evolving anyway. But have a look at that.
Thank you. We can do this offline.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
So can I just clarify from my own mind what we're saying here, because this point has therefore become redundant at 129, is that correct? Because we no longer have a grant request in for this because they're saying they're funding it themselves, is that correct?
Yeah, we've been.
So we do not, we've made an offer, great, but we do not need to make any expenditure because it's being funded in a different way.
Yes.
Perfect outcome,
So
I would have thought.
Point 130, devolution preparation. And this is about transfer of assets, potentially. Goodness knows what's happening with devolution really, but it's something that we need to be as prepared as we possibly can. And really this is, I think, looking at the fact that Councillor Sadler and Rebecca, our clerk, will be attending. This is for information, guys. This is not something we have to propose second vote on. To attend the car parks meeting at Hinfield Parish Council on the 9th of October. That, I believe, is actually looking at the model whereby parish councils can actually effectively take on car parks, and whether that's actually financially viable to do so, or maybe even with financial benefit to do that as well. So, and the asset accept transfer business case working group membership to be agreed.
Is it something that's been circulated?
Oh, shorter than two.
I might be able to just, Mr. Chairman, I might be able to shed a tiny bit of light on this one. I don't know this was what's exactly been decided here, but I was asked if I would start writing a business case
Yeah.
for the transfer of the assets, i.e. car parks,
Yeah.
to us, which I said I would do. Apparently Henfield has already started doing that, so I thought when I go to that meeting I might ask them what they've done so far.
Yeah.
And that'll be the start of the point. The business case. It's a
What,
good one.
what plagiarise what they're doing.
No use reinventing the wheel. So, however, I'd be quite, if we wish to have a working group alongside that with this couple of other councillors or whatever wish to join into the discussion of that and how we construct that, that'd be absolutely fine. So if anybody's willing to assist in this project,
Yes, please.
and join on.
There's definitely an existing devolution group, Andy Castle's working.
Yeah.
And I think Brian was asked as whether he would join that, but this kind of has come as a side project almost, hasn't it? That's sort of specific about
Yes.
car park transfer.
I think what we need to be mindful of is that we're not doing any duplication here.
Indeed.
You know, that certainly we obviously understand that everybody has their outside demands in terms of the rest of their lives, but great, if you're happy to get involved in that
Yes,
and put that time in, it would be very valuable.
Well, I can report back after the meeting next week and see where everybody else is at.
Yeah.
I can come back with whatever we've got at the moment and then perhaps take it from there.
Perfect, that's great, and I think Councillor Manson would also like to be involved in
The
that.
ninth, you said, yeah? You were going to let me know.
We'll go to Henfield on the 9th.
Yeah.
Yes. At the moment it's myself and Rebecca.
Okay, excellent, thanks, and then we'll all be ready and sorted for devolution. Right, safeguarding policy. Council to consider the draft policy and agree the draft. Parish Council safeguarding policy. This is something that we didn't have, it was very outdated.
I asked whether we should have a safeguarding policy a
Yeah.
couple of meetings ago, yeah.
Yes.
So we don't know what this is.
So there was nothing, so this is really,
It's new, and I do have some changes, and I haven't got all the detail here, but some scope definitions that applies to, and there's some particular instances that I think we need to cover. I have looked at a couple of other local councils' safeguarding policies, which I know Rebecca would be doing as well, because she
Yes.
tends to look for best practice. So I've got some changes for that. So it was a bit too much detail to put in for this meeting, to expect everybody. I didn't get a chance to look at it till this morning. So I have got some changes for that, and I'm going to request perhaps that could come back round at the next meeting once I've put those in and people have circulated and seen it.
yeah, I think that's, so what we'll do, we will give people a bit more time to actually study.
So
Go
I'll put
through.
those in. I'll put my suggestions and
And
liaise
put
with Rebecca,
suggestions in.
because I know she will have done her due diligence around creating it herself. So
Right,
if that's okay with everybody.
that is fine, yeah,
I just think we have, just to give a little bit of context to that, it had lots of the right headings, but there are circumstances in which we're going to events with minors, we're going to events with young people with needs. There's just a little bit of a couple of headings and paragraphs that I think would be helpful for us to add in there around scope, who it applies to, what situations that might apply to for us as councillors as well as
Sure.
employees of the councils.
and it's something which should be constantly monitored, revised. That's not great.
It would be good to have this done by Christmas for our Christmas event.
Both of it, I'll get it around
Yeah.
quickly.
How many shopping days till Christmas now?
84 days.
The C word, 84 days.
You're a very sad person, that's all.
Yeah, somebody told me this morning, I don't know.
wonderful. Right, and now it's for chairman's announcements and items for the next agenda.
So we'll put this on the safeguarding policy for the next agenda.
Safeguarding policy for the next agenda. I've got a sort of announcement. I'm not pregnant, by the way. And I'd just like to say a huge thank you, really, to everybody around this table, because lots of people, more than ever, this council was at one point it was nobody really did anything else but the council, because a lot of people didn't have the day jobs and everything else. Now we know that a lot of people now do, and there is still a lot going on in their lives, yet still make up the time and put the time and effort into doing really, really positive things. Some of the things are not always popular, because you can please, some of the people all the time, all the people some of the time, we know that. But it's a real credit to everyone, the amount of time and effort which you put in relative to all the other demands you have in your life. So I just think it's a huge thank you, and also to really concentrate on the on the positives that we do, and we're talking about communication for some of the negative stuff out there, then that really actually applies also to making sure we are really letting people know. And I don't think people know that Councillor Loney gets his waders on and goes wading through the pond and does all sorts of things, and we should let us know next time you're going to do that, because then everybody can come and have a look. We'll get some pictures. But there's a huge amount that goes on behind the scenes that certainly the public don't see, and we don't spend a lot of our time broadcasting out either. But it really is very much appreciated, and I would say if the public knew how much went on, I think they would turn around and go, yeah, that really is. So it's a big thank you. The date of the next meeting is the 5th of November. Virginia?
Sorry, I just wanted to, I did a note round to everybody last week, I think it was, about a photo shoot which is going to be on the 5th of November. I know 2 people are not available on that day, so if anybody else is not coming to the next meeting, can you let me know? Because I need to know the scale of how many other people we've got to fit in to the photo shoot. It's not a case of Peter just going click. We need to do them properly. They need to be good photos. They need to be in the same place, and they're all going to be taken by Peter. So we've got nice, consistent, and also there'll be a clothes guideline on what you can wear, should wear, stripes, checks, that kind of thing. But I just wanted to make sure you all noted that the instruction that came out about coming a little bit early if you can, or if it, on the 5th, we do some people afterwards, so it took about 10 minutes. But I don't want to miss the opportunity to get most of you on the day.
Okay. Right. Excellent. Sorry.
Item 13 was items for the next agenda as well, and being a newbie, I'm not quite sure how that works. I know we can't talk about anything that's not on the agenda.
Yeah.
So can I make some suggestions for items for the next agenda? Is that how it works?
Yeah, we get what we do is suggestions come through and they come into the parish office, into the clerk or the assistant clerk.
So just email it to you.
Just email it.
Email,
okay.
and then what we do.
And is there a deadline for that?
We
It depends what meeting it's going on. So we have to have it 3 days before, clear 3 days before. So I'd say just a week before your particular meeting.
Okay. And are there terms of reference available for each of the groups so that we know, and where are they available?
It should be online, but leave it with me and I'll get back to it.
Yes, it'd be really good to know
They are
Where?
online, in the parish documents, online.
somewhere.
I wouldn't say that. You go to parish documents, it's definitely on the terms of
Okay, so that tells us what bit goes where.
Yeah, because all the documents, all the policy documents that we have that are active.
Councillor Manton.
Chairman, thank you. I was a little surprised to see that the agenda doesn't have any other business thing at the end, and I would like to suggest that we do, because there's a matter that I would like to address and bring up.
Well, if there's a matter you want to address, then I suggest we do what we've just done now, and that is follow and get something onto the agenda. Otherwise, any other business can throw us out and we could be here all night.
Okay,
You could raise it and we're quite happy to put items on
I'll
the
write
agenda.
to Clark tomorrow.
Just an update, Chair, if it's okay, but as a parish councillor elsewhere, I know you can't have any other business on a parish agenda, just, it's not legally available.
Thank you. Right, well, thank you very much, everybody. And that's a record. That's 50 minutes. Date next week, 5th of November. And thank you all very much for attending. And see you next time.